Welcome to retirement. If you're like us, it took a long time to get here, and maybe you gave this a lot of thought, and maybe you didn't.
Maybe you didn't. We did. But either way, before you get here or once you arrive, there are going to be some big decisions that you need to make.
Today we want to share with you some major decisions that are going to make all the difference on how your retirement looks and feels.
And these decisions we're talking about today, they cannot be ignored and shouldn't be ignored. We have a good friend who recently retired, sold his company. He's financially secure. He nailed that part, right?
He absolutely did. He had his housing all worked out. They decided to stay in their same house that they raised their children in. He had a weekend house away on a beautiful river, and they really felt good about their next 10 years.
But then they ran into trouble. Basically because his life was all his job, 100%. Nights, weekends, the whole thing. He had no hobby. He wasn't really doing anything outside of eating meals with his wife. They didn't like have any stuff together. They didn't change their lifestyle, so they ate and drank and lived and didn't exercise, just like when they were working. So all of a sudden their health became an issue.
Absolutely. And he had an opportunity to come with us on our mastermind journey to try to help him get back on track. They ended up getting some counseling, working on some healthy habits, finding some volunteer opportunities together, and now starting to find alignment on their future.
Right.
So that was a story of, preparing for retirement in the traditional sense, right? With financially prepared. But some big decisions around lifestyle, they weren't prepared for.
Right. And the first one they were. The first big decision that you're going to have to make in retirement is figuring out where and how you're going to live. Now, it could be as simple as you're just going to stay where you are. And we've got a lot of videos in here on downsizing and right-sizing and staying in place. But this is something you need to decide on. You can't just waffle, right?
Well, and it can be very divisive for you and your partner if you don't communicate about it. One of you may want to move to a warmer climate, and there's things to consider around moving and uprooting and family and environment, and we do go over that in another video. But there are also financial considerations to that, right?
Or do you live, if your kids live nearby and your grandkids or your parents are really good friends, you don't really want to move, but you've got to decide. You can't just say, well, we'll talk about it tomorrow. You've got to really figure it out because it is really important.
So that's really the first big decision.
Where and how you're going to live.
Where and how do you want to live?
Second thing is, do you get a job or not? And if you need a job...
Is it still retirement if you get a job?
Yeah, because, listen... I don't believe in the word retirement. We should never retire. We just kind of change what we do and how we do it. But if you need to continue to work for financial reasons, then by all means do it.
Or even just for community and camaraderie and routine and all those things that you've had for the past 30 years that are important to you.
Yeah, I think the thing here that I'm thinking as we're talking is just because you're retired doesn't mean you can't go back to work or continue working for the company you're with now, but at reduced hours.
In some capacity.
In some capacity. I always said that when I retire, I'm going to go work in a hardware store or a boatyard. And it didn't work out. We ended up doing this. But clearly I go into the hardware store down the street, and there's a bunch of older gentlemen and women who worked there who were great. They were handy their whole life.
It's funny though, we get some feedback on our channel where people say, you say you're retired, but you're not retired.
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter is we both retired from I retired from a big corporate job and you retired from owning your own company.
Yeah.
But we're doing this work now, 20 hours a week, helping people, giving back, and it's created a little bit more routine in our life.
It has. Well, it fills a lot of our time. Mm-hmm. It gives us something to challenge our brain.
Right.
And somewhere to build community. I mean, we've got 11,000 followers now on this channel. We're so grateful to each and every one of you that watch our videos. We feel like your family, and a lot of the same people comment all the time, and it feels like we're getting to know them.
Yeah, absolutely. So the second thing is, are you going to work? Are you not going to work?
Right.
Are you going to have a post-career? What capacity do you want work to play in your retirement? The third big decision is lifestyle choices.
Right.
You know, my mom used to always say, make good decisions. And we tell our kids the same thing.
Well, yeah, we always do. And we're trying to make good decisions, right?
But really, your lifestyle is a choice, right?
It is.
It's a decision. You have to be intentional about what you choose.
Well, it's interesting you bring that up, because if you are eating poorly, that's a decision. That's a choice. And you need to be aware of the fact that, yes, I'm eating poorly, but I'm okay with it. And if you're okay with it, that's fine.
Right.
But you have to know, if you're eating poorly, it's going to affect your health.
Right. Yeah, same thing as if you exercise or don't exercise. You know, make the choice. If you drink alcohol, too much, too little, not at all, you know, make the choice.
Smoking.
Yeah, smoking, you know, there's not a lot of real positive information out there on smoking.
No, but if you're smoking,
you make the choice.
You are shortening your life. So you need to know, just be intentional, like you said, about, yes, I'm smoking. I know it's shortening my life, but I'm okay with that.
One of the things that we always talk to our children about is, you know, making the choice, being intentional about your mental health.
Right.
You know, staying positive, keeping your mindset healthy, and keeping your relationships healthy.
Good, healthy relationships. We talk about that a lot. And if you're married, how do you and your spouse treat each other?
Right.
I mean, we talk about that all the time, the way I'm mistreated. But funny. I mean, I think if your marriage, as you enter retirement, needs some work, be intentional about that. Right. You know, try to rebuild your relationship. Don't give up. Find some common ground. We play pickleball now. We learned it together. That was something we did together. And that's really helped us with our relationship. Not that it was in trouble, but it's just something we look forward to together.
So the third one is just being intentional and making these choices around your lifestyle.
Right.
The fourth one is really finding a way to step away from your old identity.
Right. My dad could never do that. He spent his 15 years of retirement. He retired. He stepped away from the career. But he used to always, for 15 years, say, I used to do this, I used to do that, I did that too, I did this, I did that. But he never created anything new.
Right.
So when he retired, he was stuck in that old, his old title, his position in the company. He had a good, strong work ethic, but he never turned that into anything positive in retirement.
And, you know, we have some clients who are what they did for their work, right? They were kind of labeled. They were an accountant. They were a doctor. They were a lawyer. They were a politician, right? So they were what they were labeled. And that's hard to lose that label and recreate something new. But it's a decision you're going to have to make.
Because you got to decide what and who do you want to be in retirement. You can't just wake up every day thinking, well, I'll see what happens.
Or I used to. But do you want to become the best grandparent ever? And we have friends who just spend so much time with their grandkids. It's wonderful.
So that their kids can work and have some time alone. But being a great grandparent is such a noble thing. I mean, it really 100%. Is. Or maybe you want to be like a temporary sales coach, or get really good at golf or pickleball, or be just a good parent, you know, reconnect with your kids.
Yep, absolutely.
But you need to have a new identity in your retirement.
Yeah, because you want to figure out what the next 30 years will have, you know, for you, so you don't live in the world of used to.
Right.
You know, people get tired of hearing what you used to do.
I know.
They want something more relevant and timely.
We didn't know we were going to start this YouTube channel, but we're so grateful that we did. We're having so much fun with it, and we're learning a lot of stuff. Our life is better because of it, and we hope your life is better because of it too.
You know, the fifth thing that you really have to decide, and we have people in our lives in both of these camps, right? People that retire with a plan, which is something we advocate, or people that just kind of take each day as it comes. And we have a ton of friends that just decided that was going to be their retirement.
And that's fine. If it's fine with you, that's good. But you need to think about everything that we just talked about, these big important decisions, where and how to live, whether you're going to work or not, what's your new identity, who are you going to become in retirement, and what lifestyle choices will you make.
And, you know, whether you like it or not, that all takes thought and planning. So I think the word planning kind of scares people away from it. But you have to remember, hope is not a plan,
No.
right? That's not going to get you there. Taking some time off at the beginning of your retirement can be beneficial to map out what you want to do long term, but it can't honestly be your long term solution.
This sounds ridiculous, but retiring can be complicated. It shouldn't be, but it can be. And you need to make so many decisions. The 5 we talked about today are super important. We want to make sure you get it right.
We just don't want you wandering into retirement. In a short period of time, you'll begin to wonder, what do I do now and what do I do next?
So if you think about these 5 decisions, your retirement will begin to take shape and your life will become more in line with your dreams. Now, if you like this video, you're going to love this next one. It's called Don't Sabotage Your Retirement: The Top Distractions That Can Derail Your Retirement Plan. We touch on alcohol, TV, and your circle of friends and how important all of these are so that you don't get derailed.